Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So glad you could make it. So today's going to be a super cool video. We're going to be talking about how to control and navigate your thoughts. And it kind of wasn't even the plan to do this video. I was actually going to do a moms with anxiety video, so be on the lookout for that. But I feel like this is kind of like a prerequisite for that, because a lot of the things that I talk about in dealing with anxiety as a mom is controlling your thoughts and kind of reining in on that anxiety and depression madness. So I kind of didn't feel like it was fair to explain how you need to control your thoughts without talking about actually controlling them and telling you guys how I control my thoughts and navigate that area. So let's get into this video. Also wanted to add in that I am excited that I just started my life coach school. As you know, if you had watched my one or two previous videos, I am becoming a life coach, and I am so excited about this journey. And also, I'll throw in my disclaimer since we're talking about this. I am not a licensed professional. I don't claim to know everything. I really just do this channel so that I can kind of explain what I've learned on my anxiety and depression journey. So now let's get into the video. All right, you guys, so controlling your thoughts sounds super scary, super like, duh, if I knew how to do that I wouldn't be here, but it's a real thing that you should be trying to practice and do on a daily basis, a minute by minute basis, to be completely honest, because it is important for you to have a rein on that when you're dealing with your anxiety and depression, because if you do not control your thoughts, they will absolutely control you in every single aspect of your life. So I will kind of talk about how I control my thoughts and where I struggle in doing that as well. So the biggest thing that I have learned in doing way too much research on controlling your thoughts is that, one, you may never be able to completely control them. Your mind is obviously very intelligent and it can do things all on its own. And once you throw it in Copilot, you kind of don't realize how much it does without you initiating it, right? So the first step is to take it out of Copilot, put it into manual, and like every single thought, just go right or left. It's totally necessary. And the best way I've heard it being explained is to parent your thoughts. And it didn't really make any sense to me when I first heard that. But if you have kids, or maybe if you have pets, I'm not really sure about that. But if you have kids, you definitely understand what it entails, parenting. It is just constant helping, assisting, managing everything, every single aspect of a whole human person's life. So you kind of have to take all of those things and put it into your thoughts, which sounds exhausting, and to be completely honest, it is very exhausting, but it's completely worth it once you create your habits for yourself. So let me explain what, like, an example of parenting your thoughts. Okay, so a very real life example is, let's say you have a toddler, a 3-year-old. One of my kids are 3, and the 3-year-old is a boy, and the boy just needs to climb and jump, and he is just a stuntman all day long. And I constantly find myself telling him, no, stop, or wait. I mean, it has to be at least once an hour. I am trying to prevent him from hurting himself, right? And I had to take that kind of a way of going about things and put it into my thoughts. So if I see a bad thought, or if I kind of see a rabbit hole, rabbit trail, whatever that is, if I see one of those coming, I have to say, no, stop, or wait. just kind of put everything to a halt. And those of you who have anxiety know that it comes like rapid fire. I mean, just one thought after the next and the next. And most of the time, they are not productive, right? And at that point, when they stop becoming productive, that is when we need to say no, or stop, or wait. So, an example of the rapid fire thoughts would be, I had to go to a store the other day. And as I was walking out of the house, my husband told me, be careful. There are like crazy people out there right now. And a simple suggestion from a loved one kind of took my head into a million different cartwheels. And the fact that I was going by myself could have been one of the reasons why. Because normally I have other people with me to distract me from my own thoughts. But when you're alone, that's kind of when like your mind starts really going, because you have nothing to distract you, because you're just sitting there enjoying your own thoughts and your own peace of mind and everything. So I started driving, and one thought was like, he said that, and now what if it happens? Or what if someone really tries to take you or hurt you or something like that? And then it went going on and on for about 1 minute. And that is when I started to kind of feel my chest tightening. And that was when I kind of like internally shouted, stop, or no. And that was the halting point for my thoughts. And I could have, honestly, now that I think about it, I could have shouted it out loud because I was alone in my car. Why not? But when you're in school, or when you're in work, or when you're in a public setting, you may not be able to scream, or you may have the cops called on you. So internally, you just shout, stop. You tell all of your thoughts to stop. And that is super important, and that is when you throw it into manual. Because when I was in the car and I started driving and those thoughts started coming, I was already in autopilot, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I was really thinking about the list that I had at the store and all the things that I needed to get, right? But once I kind of stopped thinking about that intentionally, my brain kind of went into autopilot and started going down that rabbit trail of the what ifs, right? And that's when it became not productive. And let's talk about being productive and non-productive thoughts, right? Okay, so after I told my brain to stop, then it was super quiet in the car and in my mind. I had turned off the music because it was too much going on. So after I said stop, I kind of went back to my why, right? Which I talked about in my last video. If you don't know what that means, go ahead and go check it out. But to sum it up, your why is what's going to get you through those dark times. If you think about a specific time or place or thing that you can kind of rein it back in, right? Kind of take control back over your thoughts. So I was thinking about my why, right? And then I kind of felt myself at ease a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I've been working out lately. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling confident. Like, what if that happened? And then those thoughts started to become productive. And I had control over those thoughts. And I knew if I wanted to stop thinking about that, because I did want to stop thinking about that at a certain point, I could. But since they were productive, I was like kind of imagining what that would entail, what that would look like, what would happen if that happened. But those were productive thoughts, kind of planning out a scenario, making sure that I had everything that I needed in a good spot for me to grab if I ever needed it. So those were all productive, and those are fine to indulge in as long as you have control over it. The non-productive thoughts were what was giving me the tight chest in the beginning of my car ride. The what if they take me? What if I never see my kids again? What if I never get home? What if I never get back to my life? And all those other thoughts. Those were not productive because nothing good is coming from them. I'm simply freaking myself out more. What good is coming from that, right? So those are the thoughts that you have to shut down immediately because there's just no good purpose in them. However, the productive thoughts, the me planning out something, me gathering my things close by me in case I did need them, those are productive thoughts. So once you separate those, you kind of know how to navigate those thoughts, what to say left or right to. So that is also super important in controlling your thoughts, knowing when it becomes productive and when it is not productive and you need to stop the thought. So now that we kind of went over that, the parenting comes into play, and it really depends on you and your journey, on how fast your thoughts go. Because at some point, I didn't really have to parent my thoughts or manually change my thoughts very often. But at a certain point in my anxiety and depression journey, I found myself having to go in manually very often. About every hour, I would have a negative thought that I had to kind of like snap back and just say, no, stop, wait, and that's it. It's up to you. It's up to you where you are in your journey. But if you are at that point where you may have to do it manually every hour, every minute, every second, it's just going to become necessary. And it is very exhausting. It's draining. But once you create those good habits, then those are there to stay. And that is the goal that we're reaching for here, is the creating the good habits so that one day, maybe a year from now, even maybe a couple months from now, you won't have to do it manually. Now your autopilot is either productive thoughts or just shutting down those negative thoughts at least. So that's the goal. And if it takes you some time to get there, like no one is allowed to judge you on how long it takes you to progress in this journey. I will tell you that right now, because no one else has been in your shoes in this second, in this point of your life. So if it takes you a while to figure this out, if it takes you a while to kind of see how often you need to be going in there and seeing what is going on exactly, then so be it. Like, it's your journey. You need to do what's best for you and your mental health. So I would encourage you to try that for the rest of the day or the rest of the night. Do everything intentionally. Think intentionally. If you have a thought, see, is it negative or positive? Should I shut it down right now, or can I indulge in it? Can I really think about this a little more? So an example of the differences would be, let's say you're at work and you're focusing and you have a long to-do list, right? And you're kind of feeling overwhelmed, but you're still in that space where you kind of got it, right? And then a thought comes in, what about dinner? What are you going to make for dinner? This happens to me like every day. I'm just letting you know. What are you going to do for dinner? And then that is when it starts to become a little much, right? Because you already have a lot on your plate at the moment, and now you're throwing something else in there that you have to try and figure out. No, we're not going to do that right now. Let's wait. Maybe we'll write it down in our journal real quick so we don't forget about it, so we can be productive in that aspect. But right now, we're doing work. So, no, let's shut that down. Let's deny that. Let's accept all that we're working on at the moment. Let's get it done. Let's keep being productive. And then maybe later we can revisit that topic. So that goes into the manual aspect, right? You may be on Copilot when you're working, but if you get a thought and it's negative or it's counterproductive to what you're doing, then that's when you have to step in and be like, no, I'm not going to do that right now. I got to deny that and just keep working. So those were just some tips on that, and I really hope that this was helpful for someone on trying to control your thoughts. Like I said, it's a long journey, so please be patient with yourself. It's going to take some time to not be on autopilot all the time, because there are days where you kind of just survive off autopilot. Maybe you don't have the energy to go in manually in your thoughts at the moment, and that's completely acceptable. But as long as you're trying and you're improving somewhat in this area, I really feel like that's a win. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe, like, comment below how you feel about it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.